Hello and welcome to His Author's Voice, Stories with a Twist. I am the author, Jack Sanger. I've been reading a lot recently about the nature of consciousness and whether it can exist beyond death. The consequence of this reading is a short story, which I hope you'll like. Door of Doors. Madame E. Juliette Fleury is at death's door, or to be more precise, at death's doors. But more of that later. She is 90 years old and with a brain that still continues its ceaseless imaginings. Like scientists before her, she works through thought experiments as a part of her daily exercise. Like scientists before her, she has never actually retired. Occasionally, for relief, she replays at the back of her mind her successes as an actress on the screen. Her hero, on growing up, was Hedy Lamarr, a true icon of the cinema, and whom you may remember was also a scientist who invented guided missile systems. Using similar mechanisms that are found in the self-playing piano, her invention prevented the use of radar discovery, and thus the missiles could not be blocked. We are also indebted to her pioneering work in our use of Wi-Fi today. Juliette Fleury's PhD was in neural biochemistry. She paved the way for chip implants that enable psychotic individuals to unscramble their wild imaginings and achieve what might be termed normality. That is, being able to live among the rest of us. She's now taking an active part in one final experiment to leave a lasting legacy from her time on Earth. Although E. Juliette Fleury is a celebrity given her screen career as an all-action black leather badass cop who travels across time to catch psychopaths and eliminate them before they can start their killing sprees, her exploits in neuroscience are largely unknown to the general public. At 90, she has, in her own words, condensed. Small now, quite wizened, a brown hazelnut in the sun, she sits in her wheelchair under a flowering banyan tree in Gujarat, India. She is wealthy and can afford this exclusive palliative care home with its daily observance of spiritual health, its drugs to induce blissful ease, and its individualized nutrition. Juliette knows that she will die today. She woke up this morning and had a vision of a tunnel of doors, each one illuminated by a warm glowing light. It was very brief, but it was enough. After drinking a juice made from last year's dried banyan fruit from this very same tree, she asked to be brought here. She ushered away her nurses and settled back in the chair, looking up into the tree's canopy. The banyan is said to be the place where the gods and spirits of deceased ancestors love to linger. Shiva and Durga in particular. Their presence imbues the tree with boundless spiritual energy. Juliette has had dreams sitting here in which her deceased relatives sat on its branches and chatted with her. Nothing momentous, just easygoing everyday conversation. It merely adds to Juliette's conviction that death is nothing to fear. She reasons like Mark Twain. I do not fear death. I had been dead for billions and billions of years before I was born, and had not suffered the slightest inconvenience from it. She also reasons, when in a different frame of mind, like the scientist Lanza, whom she's been reading a lot of lately, that multiple universes can exist simultaneously. These universes contain multiple ways for possible scenarios to occur. In one universe, the body can be dead, and in another, it continues to exist, absorbing consciousness in this universe. For such trailblazing scientists, consciousness operates at the quantum level, unhindered by time and space. This means that while travelling through a tunnel between universes, a dead person's consciousness can end up in a similar world and thus stay alive. Or not. And so on, infinitely. According to the new theory, at any given moment, the universe divides into countless similar instances. And in the next moment, these newborn universes split again in a similar way. You may be present in some of these worlds, but not in others. Well, she tells herself, hadn't she made the decision to come here to die because of a long-held belief that there was a sort of divine oneness in the universe, to which she would return as her atoms dispersed, and then find fresh moorage in a new budding life form? After all, in the period immediately following death, our bodies start reverting to the cellular conditions that were present when we were embryos. Some fellow researcher, whose name escapes her, pointed out he'd found that certain animals' cells, post-mortem, remain viable for weeks. The research suggests a stepwise shutdown by which parts of us die gradually at different rates, rather than all at once, preparing to go again, it seems to her. She meditates. As she does so, the boughs of the banyan tree bend down in supplication to form an umbrella-like hemisphere around her. In the dappled dimness, an infinite corridor of doors appear, disappearing into the distance. Beside those that are nearest and clearest floats an apparition of Erland Schrödinger in glinting spectacles, sage-like, in flowing ochre robes. "Choose a door," Schrödinger intones, motioning with an arm, "to the meaning of consciousness." Juliet fingers the switch behind her ear, clicks it on. She senses the faint buzzing where the chip is implanted in her brain's so-called God spot. She presses the preset button on the closed-link communication module on her lap. After a moment or two, a young male face appears on its screen and says, "All systems go, Juliet. We have a clear picture of a corridor of doors and a floating male figure. Does that resonate?" "It does. Perfectly." She smiles. "Begin recording." She starts down the corridor, glancing from door to door, stops, and makes her choice. Well, that was Door of Doors. I hope it stimulated your imagination. The nature of consciousness, time and space is a subject much travelled on this channel of short stories. Perhaps you might like to search them out, but to get you started, why not try The Case of the Iron Time Lift, The Birth of Sherlock Holmes. Writing a story a week is a serious challenge, particularly when you want to include a twist at the end. I've talked about this challenge in one or two of the Art of Writing podcasts you can find here. In these, I try to approach writing from a left field perspective, given that there are hundreds of manuals on the subject. I don't include tips exactly, just disparate thoughts that might help inform. Anyway, unlike poetry, in which a poem is never finished but merely abandoned, according to Paul Valéry and many other poets following him, in these short stories, the finish, the twist, is what makes them. If you prefer to read my work, then go to my website, www.jacksanger.com, and there you'll find poems, plays, short stories and novels, which you can download for free. It's entirely up to you if you want to donate afterwards or not. In the meantime, till next time, go in peace. Bye-bye.